What's good, y'all? Shagar Macabre. Welcome back to my channel. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every subscriber helps. Over here on this channel, you tell about daily NBA content. So if you enjoy the NBA as much as I do, please subscribe. And today we're going to be talking about, the whole James Harden fiasco that's going on the Houston Rockets right now, and what I think is going to be the end result of it, what I think of what it is currently, and just how crazy it is. So James Harden, all-star, one of the best scorers in the league. He's having a rough time, trying to, get out of the Rockets this year, get off the Rockets this year, because he requested a trade earlier this year. Well, I think it was September, October, right after his partner in crime, Russell Westbrook, did. The Rockets granted Russell Westbrook's trade request, but they want to run it back with John Wall and James Harden and Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins, that whole squad. They want to run it back, and I don't think James Harden is really interested in that sort of thing because he sees the writing on the wall. And he's looking like, I don't think I'll ever win a championship in Houston. And I don't disagree because presently constructed, Houston is a second round exit again. And it's like, we have a guy that's as talented as James Harden. Eventually down the line, loyalty kind of goes out the window. Because, of course, I think he loves the Houston Rockets organization. But, over the years, they haven't exactly put him in the best situations to win a championship. The best year they had to win a championship, in my opinion, was 2018, and injuries happened. What can you say? Chris Paul, he got injured, and that was going to be their best season to win a championship. But injuries happen. What can you say? But I think the way he's going about it is a little controversial because Lil Baby's birthday party was the other day, and he was in attendance. He's one of Lil Baby's best friends, and they are very tight. And he bought him, a Richard Mille watch, gave him $100,000, bag, $100,000 in cash, and just crazy things like that. But the James Harden situation is that basically he didn't show up to the training camp, he didn't show up to practice. You got guys asking him, the coach like Steven Silas, like, yo, what do you think about James Harden not coming to practice? When is he coming? Even the coach doesn't know. And I'm pretty sure they're not really being able to get in contact with James Harden. And he's trying to force his way out, similar to a way that AD did, where it's just like you put in the trade request, let it be known you don't want to play there anymore. But with the James Harden situation, he doesn't really have the leverage to pull him stunt like this. You know what I'm saying? Because he has 2 years left on his deal. Now I can see if he was going to be a free agent, this upcoming offseason, but he has to be a free agent after this coming offseason, the next one. So who knows what his value is going to be that late into his career. I still think he's going to be valuable, but not as valuable as he is right now. So, what do I think? What should happen with the Rockets? I think, they should run it back anyway because James Harden in Houston, they're not going to run, 1,000 plays. They're not going to run, these crazy complex offensive schemes, motion offense, pick and roll, pin down screens. That's not the offense that Houston runs. And I don't think Steven Silas is going to come in and, really shake things up like that. I think James Harden is still going to get, his isolations every night. He's going to still be able to score the same way. And, arguably, do you really have to practice isolations, or is that something you just, you do? The argument would be that, it's hurting the team chemistry, that, he's not showing up for practice. But I think it's going to be fine because in this season, do you really expect the Rockets to compete for a championship? I don't expect them to compete for a championship. So it's like, with the whole James Harden situation, it does come up as a little selfish, a little, diva activities, but I don't blame him one bit. He gave his all to Houston for many, many years. He made them contenders for a long, long time. He's the second best player to ever play for Houston. The Houston fans obviously love him, but at a certain point in your career, you got to be like, I don't think I'm going to win a championship here, because at the end of the day, NBA players, they want to win a championship. They're fine, making these millions of dollars and competing every year. But when you look at it realistically, when we really take a step back and look at what the Houston Rockets are as a franchise as a whole, they're not beating the Lakers. They're not beating the Clippers. They're not beating the Bucks. They're not beating the 76ers. So it's just like, what are we really doing here? And, for all the guys out there that's saying they should trade on to Brooklyn, Brooklyn has one of the weakest trade packages for a superstar I've ever seen in my life. And I'm only 18, so that's not a long life, but that's one of the worst trade packages I've ever seen because Harris LeVert, Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, and probably 6 to 7 first rounders for James Harden. what one of those guys can come in and be a young bright star for the future of Brooklyn? I mean, for the future of Houston. Name one of those guys. Levert, Dinwiddie. All the Brooklyn has is a bunch of guys who are good complementary pieces. You know what I'm saying? And like I made a video about this a few months ago. Personally, I think Philadelphia has the best offer because you can't get any better with a young star than Ben Simmons, one of the best players in the league right now at his young age, and he's only going to get better. And pairing James Harden up with Joel Embiid, it's going to be a scary duo. I think they would be contender for a championship for real because some quick basketball stuff. James Harden is extremely hard to guard, and with the defense they have in Philly right now, along with Joel Embiid's paint defense that can stop a guy like stop a guy like Giannis, stop a guy like AD, help contain somebody like LeBron, I think it will go well. Another team that could possibly put together an offer, or not possibly, but realistically put together an offer, the Denver Nuggets. They could offer a guy like Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, Bol if he wants to, some picks, and James Harden, Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic. That would be a great team offensively. Defensively, there'd be some questions, but you figure out how to round out the roster with the necessary defensive personnel to just be well as a basketball team. But James Harden wants out of the Houston Rockets. I don't blame him one bit. I see a lot of people on Twitter criticizing him for going to the strip club and going to the club and endangering his teammates, and those are fair criticisms because we're in a pandemic. He's going to a place where there's a lot of people in a closed space with no face mask, and it's just like it's a bad look for the league, honestly, because he's doing this because he knows he's not going to get punished. He's one of the best superstars in the NBA. He knows Adam Silver is not going to hand down a suspension. He knows the team is not going to waive him, suspend him, nothing like that. So that's why he's even, doing these kinds of things. But he's really desperate to get out of Houston, and I don't blame him one bit. But we're going to see what happens because, personally, I don't think he gets traded this year. I think they're going to really run it back this year and just see what happens. And then next year, they have no choice but to trade him unless you want to lose him for nothing and run it back again the next year. But we'll just have to see what happens. But personally, I think he leaves the Houston Rockets this offseason. But yeah, if you see at the end of this video, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.